Inspired by the glowing critical reviews of Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk, and as compensation for accidentally spitting on his hot dog when we had lunch last year, I decided to do an anatomy drawing video for the one character who is iconic with the idea of muscle, Hulk. The biggest problem with drawing Hulk is accidentally falling into one of the two main categories while drawing, e.g., drawing something that resembles just an average muscular human male bodybuilder, or at the other extreme just drawing a steroidal muscle blob. For this drawing I roughed out Hulk, then tried to correct the muscle groups, then decided to note any errors or ambiguities about the anatomy as I went along with the audio. So there was the option of going for a standard wild growing mop on our Hulk, but I like the idea of the traps or trapezius flowing into the neck and seeing part of the skull. This was a hairstyle fairly common on my favourite era Hulk, which would be from the Peter David run. When you ask a random guy on the street about muscles, he will probably name the biceps, but the traps are where it's often remarked you can see evidence of a lot of gym work, even without a shirtless reveal. Specifically, the bulge at the top of the traps, as they flow into the neck, can really intimidate, so we should have some large traps on the Hulk. I drew this diamond-like formation of the traps moving down the back, then the deltoids, or what most of us would call the shoulders. As with many of these muscle groups, you'd be adding lines at will, more for the close-up panels that follow the flow of the shoulders themselves. I'd put more detail in for cover work, but for mid-shot panels I'd just establish the main forms on the back, etc. Between the deltoids and the traps, there are a set of muscles that you would see change as you lift your arms up and down. In my drawing it looks like two bulging masses, with the visuals really depending on what and how much the individual works out. There are actually three recognised muscles in this area: infraspinatus next to the traps, visible when overlapped as a sort of triangular shape with curved sides, then teres minor and teres major. Many of these you would gloss over when drawing Hulk from panel to panel in an interior comic page. If this wasn't an anatomy video, I'd have the pencil or inked line weight much heavier for the outline of Hulk, with then ever decreasing weight as we move into smaller muscle groups. I added the triceps and the lats to the sides of the lower traps. I've then got the rear view of these muscles, which I'm a little shady on if anyone wants to chip in with those in the comments section. I think you'd see the pronator teres and the top of the flexor carpi radialis. Then we've got the triceps outer head, which I've made pretty huge on Hulk. Huge for a man anyway. We then see a rear view of the biceps. Another diamond-shaped set of muscles is under the traps, and I think this should be the erector spinae and the thoracolumbar fascia, the first at the top of the diamond, the second at the bottom of the diamond. We've then got another classic part of anatomy for men who do gym work on the lower torso, the external obliques. These would bulge and sit above the iliac crest, the definition at the top of the hips a man has if he's in shape with low body fat. For the lower arms here, we should see extensor carpi ulnaris, the flexor carpi ulnaris, and the brachioradius. Moving to the obvious anatomy, we have a couple of muscles above the butt cheeks, the gluteus medius, and the butt cheeks themselves, or gluteus maximus. We've got these iliotibial bands down the side of the legs. I added the fists, which I'm not going to go into in terms of anatomy, as hands need another video themselves. But we should note I've made the hands much bigger as a ratio to arms than that of a normal man. I think it was a Joe Quesada Hulk I was looking at a few weeks ago when I got to thinking about the hands. You can have very thick wrists on Hulk, but that for me really makes the flow of lines and muscle less dynamic. For the rest of the legs, we have the central biceps femoris, the semitendinosus, the adductor magnus, and the gracilis. For penciling purposes, these would just appear as lines that follow the curve of the overall leg. With this higher POV for Hulk, it magnifies the idea he has a huge upper body compared to the legs, But I think some would definitely say my Hulk legs are a little puny, even with this perspective. We've got the calves, which really show a huge difference between someone who is unfit and someone who does a lot of leg work. I wouldn't say my Hulk missed leg day, as the meme goes, but I've made a conscious decision to make him more top heavy. That's mostly it. You're good to go now on trying your own Hulk drawings, so good luck.